The grand halls of the kingdom buzzed with whispers. The beloved King Aldrich had been murdered in his own chambers, and the realm was in shock. The guards found only one man near the scene, Elias, a humble blacksmith's apprentice, whose only crime was being in the wrong place at the wrong time. As the guards stormed into the chamber, torches casting long shadows across the cold stone walls, Elias stood frozen. The king lay lifeless before him, and in his hand was a dagger, one he had picked up in shock, not knowing it was about to seal his fate. Murderer! The captain of the guard bellowed. Elias was dragged through the castle halls as nobles and servants gasped in horror. He screamed his innocence, but who would believe a mere blacksmith's apprentice over the evidence before them? Elias was thrown into a dark, damp cell as he awaited trial. The entire kingdom had turned against him. The queen, stricken with grief, demanded swift justice. The nobles, eager to show loyalty to the crown, called for his execution. At his trial, the prosecutor painted him as a scheming traitor, a man who wanted power and sought it with a blade. His only defender was a brave young woman named Lena, a childhood friend who refused to let him perish without a fight. Elias had no reason to kill the king, Lena argued. He was loyal. He loved his kingdom. Someone else is behind this. But the jury was unmoved. The evidence was too strong. The bloody dagger, the presence in the king's chamber. The ruling came swiftly, death by hanging. As Elias sat in his dark, cold cell, counting down the final hours of his life, another man in the kingdom was also being tormented, but not by chains. Lord Renwick, the true murderer of the king, was being haunted by something far worse. It started as whispers in the night, soft, eerie murmurs that sent chills down his spine. Then, the nightmares came. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the king's lifeless body, his eyes open, staring into his soul. Blood dripped from his royal robes, and with a hollow voice, the ghost of the late king whispered, "You cannot escape your sins, Renwick. The innocent will perish, and your name will be cursed for eternity." Each night, the dreams grew more vivid. The king's ghost no longer just whispered. He screamed. Shadows moved in his chamber even when no one was there. Renwick felt unseen hands clutch at his throat, making it hard to breathe. His mind was unraveling. Fearing he was losing his sanity, he sought the one person who might have answers, the kingdom's most feared soothsayer. Renwick arrived at the soothsayer's hut in the dead of night, his face pale, his hands trembling. The old woman sat before a flickering fire, her eyes cloudy with visions of things unseen. "You are tormented," she rasped. "You seek relief, but the spirits will not be silenced." Renwick dropped to his knees. "Tell me how to make it stop. I cannot bear it anymore." The soothsayer peered into the flames. Her voice grew heavy, laced with finality. "The dead cry for justice. If you do not confess your crime, the curse will not end. Your wealth will rot. Your lands will turn to dust. And," she paused, her face darkening, "your beloved daughter will be the one to suffer most." Renwick's breath caught in his throat. His daughter, the only thing in the world he truly loved. "No," he whispered, his voice breaking. "Not her. Anything but her." The soothsayer's voice turned sharp. "Then you know what must be done. Speak the truth before the kingdom, or calamity will claim your bloodline." The next morning, as Elias stood in chains, awaiting his execution, Lord Renwick stormed into the royal court. His face was pale, his clothes disheveled, his hands shaking as he fell to his knees before the queen. "Stop this execution. I am the one who killed the king." Gasps filled the great hall. The queen, horrified, rose from her throne. "You dare confess this now?" she demanded, her voice a mixture of fury and disbelief. Renwick's eyes were wild, filled with equal parts terror and relief. "The king's ghost haunts me. I see him in my dreams. I feel his breath in the dark. I cannot live with this curse. I killed him, but I cannot let an innocent man die for my sins." The court erupted in chaos. The guards rushed to free Elias. While Renwick collapsed, his body racked with sobs. Justice had finally been served. But whether Lord Renwick had confessed out of guilt or fear of the king's curse, no one would ever truly know.